This time on Roadkill Garage, it's the BJ-5. Yes, the blown Jeep. Because what are we going to do, Rick Péwé?
We're doing a crossover episode between Roadkill Garage and Dirt Every Day.
He got it right. Oh man, this is going to be great. I've been waiting for this for so long. If you're not aware, there's a show called Dirt Every Day that we do on Motor Trend that stars my buddies Fred Williams and Dave Chappelle.
Let's do this.
And it's kind of like Roadkill, but with nothing but 4x4s. And finally, we're getting to do an actual shootout between me and Dulcich from Roadkill Garage in this 1975 Jeep CJ5 versus Fred and Dave in I'm not really sure what. And those guys are on their show building their truck. We're gonna build ours, and then we're gonna come together on an episode of Dirt Every Day that you need to go check out and find out who actually has the cooler Jeep. And it'll probably be them, but watch what we're about to do because this is gonna be ridiculous. Have you even looked over this thing yet, Dulcich?
I've looked at it, but not studied it. You know, I think we should start under here. Old Jeeps with small block Chevys are my favorite. Look at that thing. It just seems so right.
So we're gonna just wow them with performance. I want to put a blown small block in this thing. I've always wanted to see a 671 on a Jeep, and we're gonna do it.
I know, those guys are all about silly drivetrain mods and axles and all that waste of time.
Reliability and suspension.
We can just go for straight to horsepower, man. That's what we need to do.
Exactly what's gonna happen.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I literally haven't laid eyes on this. In fact, I've already noticed something super sketchy right here with the steering. We need to drive it around and figure out how terrible it actually is so that we know what we need to work on before we start to make it worse.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Jumped in, let's go. Oh, listen to that thing, it purrs like a kitten.
Runs pretty good.
Oh, a grab bar. How's the steering?
It actually feels a lot better than it looks.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we should still fix it though.
We're gonna have to prioritize.
Yeah.
What does it take to beat Fred and Dave versus what doesn't matter? Because there's a lot of badness here, but
I don't know. I think we could practically just drive it over the way it is and beat those guys.
I think you might be right. That's why we need to make it worse. They're fourth gear. Oh man, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see if the brakes work. Ready?
Yeah. Stops on a dime.
Not bad.
You want to try out the four-wheel drive functions?
I was thinking we probably should.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And then is there another one for four low?
Go ahead and pop the clutch in and out a little bit. No, that's it.
Okay, so clearly the transfer case shifter needs some attention. You know what this is? It's a very typical rock crawling Jeep where nothing really needs to work that well for it to go 10 miles an hour over rocks.
Right.
Do you think it's crabbing?
It sure does seem like it. It seems like the thing's going like that.
Yeah.
Wow, this thing's all jacked up. It sucks.
Don't hit the disgusting. Let me give you the big picture of what's going to happen with the engine program here. This is a Blueprint Engines 383, what they call a short block plus, which means it's a complete assembled short block, plus it's got a damper and front cover and cam and oil pan and stuff. It also came with valve train. This thing is actually, they call it a 383, but it's 377 cubic inches because it's a 4-inch bore, because it's a brand new Blueprint block. So 4-inch bore, 3.75-inch stroke. The cam is a hydraulic roller. It's 221, 226 at 50 on a 110.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got forged pistons, 18cc dishes in it, and with the head gaskets we're using, and a 64cc head. Plus, we should probably check the deck height. It's in the neighborhood of 9.5 to 1. I bet you in truth it's like 9.25 to 1. So this part's all assembled. We're gonna put it together with what we have over here, which is leftover parts from our Engine Masters show that Steve and I do together. This is Trick Flow Specialties 195cc intake runner aluminum cylinder heads. And we're gonna install a Weiand 671 supercharger on a Weiand manifold, and it's got a couple of, I think, 750 carbs on it for this deal.
Man, your leftover junk is
It's pretty good.
stuff.
I know. The first thing that we're doing here is checking the top dead center mark because we checked it already and it was way out of whack. And what we're gonna do is go 8 degrees before. What I just did is I lined up the top dead center mark on the damper with the 0 mark on the timing indicator, and then we took this dial indicator and set it at 0 as far as the piston travel goes. And so now that I've got it at 8 degrees before top dead center, I'm gonna move it to 8 degrees after, and it should come back to 0 on the dial indicator. Okay. It's a ridiculous amount of work for absolutely no reason. Here's one of the things you really got to pay attention to when you're installing heads is whether the cylinder head bolt holes are blind or not. Blind means they've got a solid bottom. They don't go into the water jacket.
Sure.
And unfortunately, on this Blueprint aftermarket brand new block, they are not blind. The top row is. See how that one bottoms out? But down here, they go right into the water jacket, which I would not have designed it that way.
That means you need to use thread sealant on those.
On all of them, exactly. Steve just told me that the valve spring pressure on this thing open at max lift is like 400 pounds. And so I decided I just did not want to live with these flimsy 3/8 diameter rocker studs that were on this thing. I actually had brought with me a set of 7/16 out of just a box of extra stuff I had sitting around. And we're going to install those because the 3/8 ones are just, they're never a good idea. Unfortunately, that means we also had to rob Dulcich's stockroom of a brand new set of the gold rocker arms from Comp that will match the 7/16 stud size.
Mucho bueno. Boy, that might be cork territory.
That is cork territory, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely use them.
Yeah. Look at that.
There.
Wow. I can't wait to try it out.
I know.
It's going to be way too much engine. You realize that, right?
Oh, it's the stupidest thing we've ever done, and that's saying something.
Really? We've just about finished everything on the engine that we can get done before we install it. Now it's a matter of getting the Jeep ready for the quick swap from a small block Chevy to another small block Chevy. I'm probably going to take the whole radiator grill shell and radiator out as an assembly just to get a little more access to the engine, pull the engine, and we'll be ready to put this in.
Just have to get it off the clutch and everything. Something just fell out. Okay, keep going. We're already...
I'm pulling the whole Jeep.
How about up a little? There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Freedom.
There we go.
Well, Dulcich is out doing errands and stuff. I just took this thing into the driveway and sort of hosed it down, knocked the big chunks off of it, and I'm gonna spend the rest of the evening doing whatever I can, maybe even spray painting a little bit, because our big hang up right now is that this engine, I trusted the seller and he told me it was a one-piece rear main seal. It's not, so that flywheel is wrong for our new engine. I just last minute panicked, ordered 3 flywheels to make sure that we had something to make it go together with tomorrow. So here's kind of the overall lay of the land. Today's Tuesday. We've got Wednesday and Thursday in order to get this thing as done as it's gonna be. And then Friday's a travel day, and Saturday we're gonna be meeting the guys from Dirt Every Day for this shootout at Hollister Hills, which is like 3 or 4 hours from here. So, guess that's it. I'm gonna start fiddling with stuff. See you tomorrow. Yay, rain day. Okay, stuff's gonna happen. Last night stuff happened. I started by gutting all the wiring out from under the engine compartment. I gutted every scrap of wire out from underneath the dash, and then I cleaned up everything and actually spray painted it, which was pretty good. I also got some fiddling around on the engine, putting some more accessories on the front and all that stuff. But this morning, the big challenge was gonna be the flywheel. This is our brand new Blueprint Engines 3D3, and it's got what's called a one-piece rear main seal. When they went to this in, 1985, I think, something like that, they changed the design of the back of the crankshaft, which meant that they also needed to change the balance. And so that means that it also takes a different flywheel, which was the problem. And I panic ordered a bunch of flywheels last night and ended up getting actually the right one. And here it is right here. The pattern is going to be different here, whether it's one piece or two piece, but also it takes a special extra bolt-on weight. So I ordered that separate McLeod package of weights on here, and I'm going through their hieroglyphics trying to figure out which weight goes in what bolt holes so that we can slam this on the back of the engine and then get this thing into the Jeep.
Time to put in the pilot bushing. That's this little bushing that supports the input shaft of the transmission. Now, I made a simple tool just using a bolt, a nut, a washer, and then I used tape to shim it out so that it's a pretty good fit. So I'm gonna line this up at the back of the crank and hopefully a couple of mallet strikes and I'm done. I think that's good.
Let's see. Oh man, that's excellent. Let's put the clutch on.
All right.
I am going to fix this crack in the frame right here. First, I went in and cleaned all the paint off of it. Next, I'm gonna find the very end of this crack and I'm gonna drill a hole right where the crack ends. That will tend to help the crack stop continuing. And then I'm gonna take the carbide bit and I'm going to grind a little bit of a V in the crack where it's not actually separated so that I've got some welding surface. And then I'm going to booger weld the thing to death and it'll look terrible, but it'll be way more functional than it is right now. Okay, Fred's calling me. Apparently he's gonna like FaceTime us.
Really? FaceTime?
It's Fred and Dave.
Hey,
oh, it's
guys.
supposed to go sideways. I didn't know that was a thing.
How's your Jeep project?
It looks like this.
It was a perfectly running vehicle when we started.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, it ran and drove great. It had SM420. It had like everything that you would see in 1985 on the Rubicon Trail. How about you?
We have like 3 different Chevy Performance crate engines that we're trying to pick from. And then we have like some it's about a 12,000 horsepower equipped transmission that we're probably gonna run.
We pulled this decoy Jeep into the shop so that you wouldn't see how far ahead we are actually.
I see not stock flat fender frame.
What are you talking about?
What? There's nothing to see there. Are you ready to play in the rain and the mud?
I am glad that we have rain and mud, yes.
Good.
Good.
We are too.
Okay, let me just put it to you straight. Dave, prepare for the worst because we are gunning for you, bro.
You're coming with your guns blazing?
We mean business, pal.
Dulcich woke up with attitude the other morning. I told him this was all for fun. He didn't believe me.
We mean business.
We'll see you guys in the mud bog, Dulberger.
Not if we see you first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jeep guys.
Yeah, you're going down. Oh, battery's almost dead.
Gotta go.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Man, we've got to beat those guys or we might lose
Well, now
the
that
shop.
you told them that we're winning.
We might lose the shop.
Oh, that's right. We're a full day behind right now.
I know, yeah. I realize that.
Are you ready to hack, Steve?
I am prepared. You want to buck it up from the inside?
Oh yeah, I can buck. One down. Okay, ready to install.
Do you see where the steering shaft is on this outrigger?
Yeah, get a Sawzall and cut this outrigger right there. Done.
Now the transmission needs to come down.
Okay, so we are lightly rested on the ears now.
Yeah.
And the transmission needs to be pushed towards the passenger side. So I'm gonna attempt to do that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there we go. Oh, mint. Okay. Okay, that's how I feel after spending 3 hours messing around with the stupid steering on this garbage. Unfortunately, Dulcich isn't here. He had some critical stuff he had to go do, and so you would think I'm on my own. But in fact, I've got Rick Péwé showing up. Now, Rick is the editor of JP Magazine, longtime friend of mine, longtime friend of Fred and Dave over on Dirt Every Day, and he was going to be a judge in this whole competition that we're working on. But because Steve had to go, Rick's gonna come in and help me wrench on this thing, and he is going to completely hate it. I was gonna reveal this to you at the actual competition.
Oh my God.
What are you seeing that's bothering you?
Well, other than the blower drive?
Right.
God, no.
My thought was to keep you away from the offensive part of it
I'd like that.
and make you work on the actual Jeep part of it because...
Like from here back?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna finish up the plug wires. You're gonna help me heave-ho the blower on there.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna stand back and go, wow, this is incredibly awesome. And you're gonna say, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. There we go.
Yep, almost. Yep.
Boom.
Done.
There you go. You know what this is now?
A blown Jeep?
It's the BJ-5.
Done. BJ-5. All right, so we're going to screw the body lift. What we have is a much worse problem with this drive shaft angle. The pinion's nearly going straight up, and as soon as you apply some power, it's going to like hit the bottom of the frame, explode the U-joint, and it's all going to be over with. So we'll put it up on jack stands and go from there. So the idea is we had to tip the pinion down for a better pinion angle. So we were going to cut the old spring perches off, weld new ones on, there of course. But Freiburger got us these fancy shims, put them in there, done. I'm finally removing these silly fenders, which should have been taken off when you first started this project. They're nothing but in the way. There's 4 bolts to them, maybe 5. We still have to do the steering linkage. We have to take off the header and put on the manifold. So just get rid of them. It takes 5 minutes and we're done.
All right, it's time to reveal the cascade of needless complexity that leads to our complete power steering changeover. So Rick will talk you through all this stuff because he's going to install it while I'm messing with some other things. But basically, I needed to change to a short water pump for the blower drive. So I needed to change my power steering bracket. And so therefore I needed to change my power steering box because the Saginaw P box can either be metric or SAE. And mine was metric, and the metric one doesn't have the studs on it that you need to use the early style bracket. And because of that, I started addressing this column, which had been booger welded in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places and has 2 wobbles in it and an ineffective column support, so that's a disaster. And we're gonna instead change all over to a new bracket, a new pump, new lines, a new box, and this new Borgeson column that I can tell already has the wrong connection right there. I'm gonna make this Rick's problem or I'm gonna scream more.
What I have to do is fix aftermarket stuff that isn't machined correctly because the splines are all boogered up because this pin gets pressed in here, and then apparently no one bothered to check that it wasn't upsetting the rest of the steel. Ah, yes. Yes. So this is all good stuff. It's just that attention to detail that isn't really good. So now all we have to do is get rid of this, and this. I already got that off. Done. This thing will work perfectly. Goes right on the stock splines and then right down here to the box.
You ever watch TV and there's those guys who like throw cars together in a week and you're like, how is that even possible? And then you look at us and you're like, why are these guys always butchering stuff? Here's why. The aftermarket. This is a pretty standard swiveling thermostat housing, and there's a machined groove for the thermostat in the manifold that perfectly misaligns in the absolute wrong place for this O-ring. And so you're like, well, I'll just have to lump it and put a gasket on. Well, that doesn't work because you need the crush of the O-ring to keep this thing from being correct. And so you're like, well, I'll run the O-ring and the gasket. Well, that doesn't work because then the gasket is so thick that the O-ring still doesn't crush. And so you go raid Dulcich's stock room and you're like, whoa, look, I found another one, and I'm gonna get all fancy and I'm gonna gasket cinch the O-ring in there so it doesn't fall out when I go vertical. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit of RTV on it so it has a little bit of lubricity so it slides around when you go on there. And you put it on there and it's all perfect, except for you never bother to check that the angle of the dangle actually points directly at the belt. And so I'm about to go raid parts off cars in the yard. This is ridiculous.
So these stock exhaust manifolds hit the aftermarket valve cover, so I gotta take this flap grinder and take off about a couple of thousandths. Otherwise it won't seal up, so let's keep going.
This truck over here is gonna solve my thermostat housing problem. This thing is, I think, a 74, maybe it's a 73 Chevy K20. 3/4 ton 4x4 long bed. We call it the fail guy. I think this thermostat housing here is going to be the lifesaver that I need. There, harvested. Now we find out if it actually fits. I'm going to go with yeah. Yep, mint.
All right, Freiburger, what have we got?
We're real close. Basically, it's the exhaust, and Rick and I are working on finishing up the steering, which you're really going to like it, by the way.
We're liking it already. That hard line looks pretty nice.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Is that your handiwork?
Yeah.
Man, I missed out on so much cool stuff.
I know.
I'll have to watch the episode now.
Yeah, you will. So Dulcich is going to do exhaust. Péwé and I are going to finish the steering. And after that, it's just like fluids and make it run, and then put the radiator and the grill and the fenders back on. Done.
Finally, I have this steering shaft done. I had to shorten it, had to make it fit here and make here, and more importantly, get rid of all the obstructions on the shock tower. Get those bad boys in. That's it. Tighten it up. We're done.
Wow. We're getting close.
Oh man, that's some beautiful welding.
Okay, Rick.
What?
It's on you. So I've got the ignition disconnected. I just want to crank it.
All right.
And I suspect I'm going to have some fuel leaks because I didn't like the way these AN fittings all went together. So let's crank it until we get some fuel in it. Got fuel, stop. And here's the leak I was anticipating right there. I knew it.
You knew it.
I knew it. Okay.
Oh, yeah! That is wind.
Awesome.
It sounded good too.
Sounded great.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't want to leave it running with no water in it, but we're all good now.
Wow, Freiburger.
Awesome.
You had the
Good
ignition dialed in, bro.
That is how a new engine startup should go. It has a hydraulic roller cam, so we don't have to worry about breaking it in. I just wanted to hear it go vroom. It's got no water in it, so you don't want to run it very long at all. But now that tells us we're ready to whoosh,
Yeah.
put it together.
There. Oh, wow, look at that.
So stupid and yet so good. We're only a full day behind schedule, so we're gonna load this thing on a trailer and cannonball to Hollister tomorrow for the shootout with the guys from Dirt Every Day. Unfortunately, Dulcich has to get back to business, so it's gonna be me and Uncle Rick.
Take care of him, Rick. Knock him dead.
Absolutely.
It took a combined effort with me, Dulcich, and Péwé, but we got the BJ-5 finished. We loaded it up and hauled it out to Hollister Hills. Péwé and I hopped in for a first test drive, and this thing, I'll say, it's still kind of a mess. There's no suspension travel, we didn't work on the transfer case shifter, but we do have a blown small block, steering that should be fixed, and hopefully Péwé's fix on that rear end is gonna keep the drive shaft from falling out.
How's it feel?
Pretty good. Way better than it was. Overall, this thing is way better than what we started with. This steering in particular is a massive improvement, and the rear drive shaft isn't falling out. Now, the suspension, still not great, and I'm hoping to make up for that with huge horsepower, but we still have a problem. We haven't sorted out that transfer case shifter deal, and right now, it's stuck in low range.
Oh, stop, 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 stop.
Whoa!
Backwards, backwards.
We have no front wheel drive. What do you got going on over there?
Try that.
Neutral.
Okay,
No front. I have no front.
go forward a little. Almost. That's it.
I have no front.
Try that.
Okay, now I have front. That's it. All right, home free.
Go for it.
We had a blast test driving this thing, but the real fun is coming up. It's a challenge with Fred and Dave from Dirt Every Day, and you will see all of that action on episode 88 of Dirt Every Day right here on Motor Trend.
Is this gonna be the famous last words run?
Rock.
So that's it for this time on Roadkill Garage. You want to see more of this action? Check out the Motor Trend show called Dirt Every Day, because we are going to go destroy those guys pretty much right now. Just popped out of gear. I was wondering when that was going to happen.